fairly uneventful sequence of turn, or player turn, single turn total, in Wreck of the Pandora. The commanding officer found a survey pod. Now, that's going to allow him to control the Specibot, Reconabot, and Ambot. Here's the Ambot, but it's broken, so he can't do anything with it unless he fixes it. Of course, that's dangerous. If he fixes it one level only, which is all he can do with what he's got available, he could end up, or she, could end up causing a Berserk Ambot, which wouldn't really help anything. The Piggy is now back here. Over here, the science officer found another escape lock this time. This one has the spaceship on it, the escape pod ship. Nothing really exciting about that. You can't win the game or avoid losing or dying by running away in it, although I guess one could make up rules for that. Mary ran away after he walked in there, which is wise. Mary's kind of upset at this point. And Kelly is still being cautious, moved out of the crew pod just to here, basically figuring I'm going to get most of these. If I take the front ones first and work my way down, I'll be able to inspect these later when I'm at healthier status. And honestly, we've each got our own floor at this point. Okay, most of the activity was fairly inauspicious. The commanding officer walked out here. The science officer walked out here, basically covering the rest of their territory. The maintenance officer, though, walked into here, and first thing he found was this pod, a maintenance pod. That's useful for repairing all kits and comm tools. Great. He also found some tools, an iKit and it's an Imrobot. It's a repair robot. Repairs anything except crews and kits. Great. Both of them ended up green. Now, I'm worried that before I was rolling only one die for status, which meant all items would essentially be red. I'm not sure. I think I did that for a little bit. Hey, so what? That probably hurt the commanding officer because some of the equipment she's carrying was what was rolled there, but it's okay. And I also found this Shazam, which, as you can see, doesn't have a lot of intelligence, a -1 and +3 to aggression, and those rolls came out to a 3 and a 9. And I haven't rolled my effect yet. Oh yes, I did. Oh yes, I did. I don't remember what I rolled, but it was a middling number, which means I get a move in parentheses. Now, a move in parentheses means I move to the nearest thing, that's this, and I'm going to attack. Now, let's see what the requirements are, because who you attack is dependent, and it's possible it may attack the Imrobot. So this is going to be by the crew member who triggered it. So Kelly is going to be attacked by Shazam. I have to roll up the impair and shield ratings at this point. That's a -1 and a 0. It's violent, but not terribly not terribly good. A 6 roll gets to a 5. It's got a 3 impair. And of course, these are very random. The modifiers don't tell you much. And a 4 gives me a 2 for shielding. Now this thing's going to attack. It's got a 3 impair. My maintenance officer has only a 2 shield. So I'll be rolling on the +1 table there, which means I can do some damage. And indeed I do. The maintenance officer takes a hit. He's not stunned because it's not 2 hits, and now the maintenance officer automatically gets a swing back with a 5 impair versus a 2 shield is on the +3 table here. I could actually stun it. And I do. So I stun the Shazam. No, I have killed Shazam. Okay. Killing Shazam means I'm going to need a running total here. I was going to keep points up in this space here, but I don't know if there are going to be enough room. Well, let's do it. We can write small. Okay, so I roll a die and subtract and divide by 2. I got a 4. This is now gone. So I get 2 victory points for the maintenance officer. Now this is funny because I haven't found any of the ship's main systems, have I? I wonder where they all are. There's 5 of them left, and I've gone through almost half the stuff. Okay, well, now I can pick up my equipment. Now the eye kit, its special ability is that it repairs kits. No, that's the maintenance pod. I think it also repairs kits. Yes, all it does is repair kits. But my maintenance officer has a port of 6. He might as well carry that around. What the hell? And the Imrabot is also traveling with him. He is taking control of that. And now he's got a little buddy who will help. Hey, the commanding officer found the restraint pod. Ooh, I forgot to roll for the maintenance officer his repair check. Found the restraint pod here, and that's kind of cool because now he can go after that pig and carry it in here. And if he can carry it, it's 3 weight, or she can carry it. It's a 3 weight, so should be able. Oh, that may not be weight. Yeah, I don't know what the weight is. That's a modifier to the weight, so I haven't tried to pick it up, so I don't know. But if I can stun it, or yeah, I don't have any stun equipment though, so it doesn't terribly help me. But if I could stun it, my combat ability is not terrible. 5. The pig we don't have combat for. It looks like it has a bonus to its combat rating though, so that could be kind of dangerous. It could be around a 6. It definitely has an advantage to its shield. I may be best off not trying to fight it. But if I can stun something like the pig, I could haul it back here and then, assuming I can carry it, and then get the full victory points, the full die roll of victory points. Science officer moved in with Mary. Mary kind of ignored him, and the maintenance officer did a hasty move. He's kind of afraid somebody might be getting close enough to a finish that making that extra move into an empty area seemed like a good idea. Not knowing that it's really empty. It's not really any less dangerous than these others, so it's kind of hard to tell. Anyway, that's where we are as we move into another turn. And we're coming to some weird cases here. The commanding officer charged into here and found the navigation pod. This is a system pod. I rolled its attribute level, and I rolled a 7, which gave me a 5. Now that doesn't match the colors on here. 5's in the green level. 5's a rating which says, hey, you can try to restart the ship with that level. Now here's what's funky though. The navigation pod is +2 to the die roll to restart the system. That, I believe, is a bad thing. I thought it was a good thing. The fact that that's a bad thing means that maybe I want to try repairing it. The medikit isn't really terribly helpful to me. The decom pod is not a system pod. So yeah, I'm gonna make an attempt to repair the navigation pod. I get a 5 on the repair strength, and that's enough to up it by 1. This one doesn't, I believe, count as one of the ones that starts the cooldown. It's power and enviro. The question, of course, was, do I want to hang out here? But given that this has a penalty on it, I don't, in order to try and get the 25 points for being the guy who restarts the ship. Because the way this is looking, that is going to win the game. The guy who restarts the ship wins it. In fact, I would suspect that's usually going to be the case. Which kind of brings you to a question, maybe those points aren't really fairly assigned, because what I was looking at here was, okay, if that is a bonus space to restart the ship, how about I just stand there and wait until other stuff is found and then take my shot at it, and don't worry about the rest of the game? In which case, I start wondering, gee, maybe what I need to do is not restart the ship with one of the other characters, not try to fix systems, but go out, try to find an enviro rig or an armor rig and the turbo laser and put a hole in the hull here and kill the captain. Remember what I said at the beginning during the introduction about if you watch, wherever I said that, that this seems like more of a co-op than most semi-co-ops, but I could definitely see a certain level. This is beginning to seem fairly easy for 3 characters to handle the circumstances, at least with the number of critters and such not that have come out in the events so far. It might be kind of cool to kill off other characters. That implies a certain level of hatred among the crew that seems a little scary, but maybe being the sole person coming back, gee, that's a dangerous thing in Paranoia, from a mission with lots and lots of critters. Well, maybe if you're the only person, you could hijack the ship and have quite a bit of wealth there. I'm thinking traveler terms, not paranoia terms. Okay. Anyway, we're going to move on. I've already started moving this guy, and he also found the power pod. And we'll determine the ratings on that, see what Mary does, see if he finds anything else there. Let's see about the anything else. Okay, he finds a pile of stuff. So we got a mother, an EVA bot, which we could send outside, but not with a tool, and a golem. Ooh, the golem looks nasty. I'm going to roll up stats on these various things that I need to, and the reaction also for Mary. This could be a dangerous place. And let me check the status of the power pod, because that's another major system. I roll an 11, which means it's all good. We're not in bad shape with that at all. Mother's stats ended up mimicking Mary's, the high intelligence, low aggression, and she ends up fleeing the room to go chill out with Mary over there. But the golem, with a 5 intelligence and a 9 aggression, and then a high die roll, gave me the parenthesized kill. Now the kill in bold means it's going to be a charge attack. Impair is doubled and shield is halved. That's going to be very bad for the character, but it could also weaken the golem more easily. The result, on a 1 through 3, it'll attack the creature with the lowest shield rating. On a 4 through 6, it attacks the crew member with the lowest shield rating. Well, the thing in this space with the lowest shield rating is the crew member. The science officer has a shield rating of 5, whereas the EVA bot, I think, has a 7. Maybe that's a 4. No, that's a 7. And the EVA bot's not under my control yet, not that that really matters. So the golem's going to attack. I've got to determine his impair and shield ratings at this point. And he's a +3 on everything, it looks like. That's good solid stats across the board. 6 gives me a 9. That's a 7 impair. And a 10 gives me an 8 for shield. All right. Well, I think our science officer may be in trouble here. He's got a shield rating of 5. The golem's got a 7, so it attacks on the +2 table. Well, it can't be stunned. Question, of course, can I get out of there? 3 is going to be a hit on the science officer. And now, and the power pod doesn't need to be repaired, but I do have to kind of be able to sneak in. Now, I could use an EVA type thing, burn a hole in it or something. I just don't have the tools available yet, though. And they may not be there. The cup is still pretty full, and the chances of finding things, I've been rolling pretty high, I guess, across the board. Anyway, the science officer may get an attack back. He has an impair of 7. The golem has a shield of 8, so no, he doesn't get one. If I could get control of the EVA bot with his 4, and these are not random generated stats. Those are fixed stats for the robots. That extra 4 would give me a chance to hit him. Unfortunately, the golem would get to swing back at something. Now, I'm not sure how that works if multiple critters are attacking. I think yeah, all damage check results only affect the original attacker. So I think as the science officer, I could choose to throw the EVA bot in as the bigger combatant. Now the EVA bot is in... Uh-oh. I forgot to make a berserk check for that. On a 1 or a 2, it's berserk. It's in yellow status. It was not berserk, so it's okay, and it can still fight. So using it might be worthwhile here. I don't know. I've decided to launch an attack. So the science officer is going to try to hit the golem. He's combining with the EVA bot. He picked that up during the acquisition phase. Now in the equipment phase, he gets to attack. Now he has an impair rating of 7. The bot adds 4, so that gives me an 11 against the golem with his shield of 8. So I'm on the +3 table. There's a chance I could even stun that thing. I only get a 2. That's 1 hit against the golem. So his shield goes down to 7. We got a long way to kill him. On the other hand, it's got an impair rating of 7. Now I'm throwing the EVA bot in the way, so that's the 0 table. Not much chance of hurting it. I do not. And because I used the EVA bot and it's not berserk, on a 1 or a 2, it's going to break. And it does. So now the EVA bot, I'm going to turn this upside down like the M bot. That'll help me remember that those can't work. The EVA bot is now at red status. It would have to be repaired to do something. I think I've got to bug out of there somehow and get away from that golem. It's a scary situation though, because as I run, it may chase me and try to kill me. Here's the thing though, if it gets the highest result, the kill result, well, it depends on the speed. It may be able to block me from leaving. But if I do manage to leave and it gets the highest result, and I haven't been worrying about the speeds of these other things. These guys might be blocking me, and I've just been forgetting about them, walking by them because they've been peaceable. All right, now I've moved in here with the maintenance officer, and he found the Fletcher, which ran away. I didn't make a speed check, but I did make a weight check because there was a possibility he could have grabbed one of the bots and run off. The U-bot was just discovered. He could have grabbed that. But now I've activated that in my acquisition phase. And I've got 2 things I can repair with my 2 repair bots here. I should look at that. Don't know which is the repair number, the bottom number. So I've got a 5 and a 7 repair. Now they can, each of them, only repair anything except crew and kits, which means it's only the comp panel. I'm going to send the IMRA bot to go try to repair the comp panel just to improve my chances here. That's a 7. Get a 4. I send that up 2 levels. So that's in good condition. Now the comp is another one that has a penalty on it, +1 to the die roll to trying to restart. But until I get all the status up there, I can't try to restart it. So that's not really an issue. The U-bot can't really fix anything, but I can try to heal myself in addition. I couldn't do anything up here because this guy was involved in combat, as was his bot. That precludes you from taking actions, I believe. So now our MO has a 4 repair value, which is pretty good, but he doesn't help himself. And we move to yet another turn. And we're finally beginning to see some resistance here. Ending officer, hearing calls for help from up above, actually charges into the blind pig. Now that upped its ratings from 5-6 to 7-8. Die roll of 7 means that it's a kill attack. So the pig is going to attack. Now, I have to roll up its combat abilities. It's not bad. Let's check its impair. And +1, 7, that's going to be a 5. which won't be able to hurt her. She's got that high shield rating, which means she can run into places without too much worry. And now the shielding, the pig has a +2 on, so it may end up with a fairly good roll. 10, it gets an 8, which means we're not going to be able to hurt each other. So I don't have any equipment that I can use against it. I have the medikit and the comm. I'm really not convinced that the decon comm is terribly useful to me. So I'm going to try to repair the medikit. I don't want to attack. Oh, I have to. We're engaged now, aren't we? Let me look. We have to stay in combat and we must attack until one side or the other is out. Well, there's no chance of either side hurting each other. So the commanding officer has just gotten themselves stuck in a situation they cannot get out of. Somebody's going to have to save them. This bothers me. I feel like I should be able to do the speed maneuver to get around it. I think I'm going to immediately mod the game here. If I can get around the pig, I can run away from it. There's no way of handling this for the automatic creature attack. So if a creature gets pinned into combat, it's not going to try to run away. It doesn't get a new reaction, I guess. Although I might want to do that as well. But this really bugs me, because if you were a single player stuck in this, you've just lost the game. Just because you ran into a single combat. And that would disturb me greatly. Well, maybe you haven't lost the game. If the system's shutdown's not down, you've gotten into this limbo where you're constantly in a battle and the battle's never going to end. It just disturbs me too much to play it that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll up the speed of that piggy and see if we can get away. But if we can't, we are stuck there in an unwinnable situation. The speed of the piggy is a 5, which is exactly the same as my captain. I don't know if I'm blocked there either. But you can see this hasn't really been a fully thought out game, I don't think. There's some really clever things here, but you get the feeling not everything was properly thought of and put into the rules. And that's not too surprising. Don't again like to design things in, what, a couple hours? Yeah, the speed has to be greater than or equal to every functioning unit. So I will be allowed to leave that space on another turn. I actually shouldn't have even checked now. I had to make my attack, but nothing happens. Next turn I'll be able to leave. But if my speed had been lower than the critter, I could not get away from it, and that would kind of suck. Hopefully there aren't too many critters that have a situation where they have high speed and that ability. Moving to my poor science officer, he wants to get away. Now, he has tremendous speed, so he may be able to get away from that golem. And I'll make a quick speed check for the golem. The golem rolls a 10. He has a speed 8. Which means I can get away using this rule that I just made up. Otherwise, the science officer pretty much would have to slug it out with the golem. And I think that would go very badly for him. He'd be on the 0 table versus the 4 table. We'll see. The golem might follow. Here comes the effect of starting to tinker with the rules, though. Science officer does hasty movement into these two spaces, and he ends up finding some tools. Mary follows him, Mother runs away. But the golem got a kill result. He's not able to chase on a kill result, so he's stuck not following the science officer. Am I terrified by that? Nah, I mean, that's not horrible. But there is just sort of this kind of... It doesn't quite work. It doesn't feel like they really put enough effort into it, you know, in terms of the design and everything. Anyway, what he did find was a working armor rig, which gives him some combat ability that he doesn't really want to use. His own personal combat ability is better. And armor that improves, a shielding that improves him. But some other values there that are of value. He's wearing the armor rig, so it doesn't count against his portage value. But it gives him a portage of 8, which is far better. He had a 1, so now he can haul the other piece of equipment, which is a somewhat damaged bot kit. He did a heal on himself. And now we go on to the maintenance officer, who's going to search for other things down in his third. The maintenance officer moved in here to fight the Fletcher, but the Fletcher attacked him first. It made a kill check, and it ended up with impair 6, shield 4. On its first swing, it managed to do a point of damage, and then the maintenance officer got his bots to help him, giving him a total impair rating of 5 plus 3 is 8, gave him a plus 4 rating, so he did a point of damage to the Fletcher, and it got its counterattack successful as well. So you can see the maintenance officer is beginning to get wounded here. This is starting to get a little rougher. I've got a big nasty monster I got to do something about, and I've got some fighting going on here where I may not be able to break away. I'm playing a little bit closer to the rules here. I've been forgetting to do so. I had to roll up Mary's speed, and she ends up with a 9. That's fast enough. Let's go with the rest of the things. That the science officer can get out of there. And he rolls in here. I found this, and let me pull the thing that I found and rolled up. I found a damaged stun rod. Not destroyed, but damaged. Now remember, that thing has a _3 if I use the stun ability on it, so it would be a 9 combat rating without doing damage. If I have, this is the weapons pod here, I can fix weapons with it better. If I have, and I have room to carry all of this because I'm in that heavy armor rig. If I have a place where I could put the critters, like the restraint pod, then it might be worth stunning them to try to drag them there. Can I carry this? I don't know. It looks pretty heavy. I may be better off fighting that, but I could probably carry Mary and get some victory points off her. The thing is, though, it takes like 5 dice to even possibly overcome the guy who wins the race to fix the machine, which could be a very luck dependent thing or a timing dependent thing, just in terms of, hey, if you find the last component, that's the point at which you get that chance to roll it, if all of them are good, as they have been so far. So that's kind of a weird situation where, you know, with 3 characters or more, I don't see it as possible to build up enough victory points to overcome whoever gets that lucky shot. So killing the critters may be just as good as stunning them, for all intents and purposes. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to roll for Mary, or no, I did roll for Mary. She got a move, so she follows me in, keeping tabs on me. And now I don't have to attack her, because she didn't get a parenthesized move. I can try to repair that stun gun over in the weapons pod. The weapons pod has a repair value of 5, whereas I only have a 4, so that'll give me a slight advantage. And I repair at 1 level. So the stun rod is now fixed, and that's kind of cool. And these things don't break once they're fixed. It's only when they're in yellow condition that they're in danger of breaking. Other things like bots and stuff can get damaged through combat. Or CO ran away from the blind pig. Again, that's against the rules, but I don't know how else to handle things. This officer got himself in trouble here. He moved here. The Fletcher followed him in. He didn't have to attack it, but he chose to because he gets the advantage on attack, being able to choose to throw his bots into play. Well, he took the damage on the U-bot. Now, there's a reason not to do that, because hits to yourself don't affect the strength of the group, whereas damaging a bot can cause some serious problems. That U-bot made the 1-2 roll, so now it's berserk. So now it's going to be fighting as well. And I've got some serious problems down there. I still have the Imra bot, but everything's going to gang up on me, and that's going to go badly, I suspect. And that is the end of this movement, and we're back to the commanding officer. And in terms of game experience, fiddling around with the rules and something like this doesn't affect much. Obviously, if you're playing an opposed game of it, it probably makes a lot more sense to agree to the rules beforehand, but it's not a very long game, so you can have a pretty quick cycle, I guess, in terms of, hey, I don't like this rule, let's change it. And maybe you don't have to do it in that game, but in a later game. Or you could just do it in that game, just saying, this is stupid. I certainly have done that in quite a few games, even opposed, sitting with someone saying, that just doesn't make sense anymore. Or that's no fun, like people with flying colors saying, hey, it's no fun trying to cope with the pass-through rules. Well, I think it's a bad idea to dump stuff like that, because I think that's important to the game, but I'm much more likely to dump something if I say, that doesn't even make sense. Alright. Oh, geez, more mistakes. Let's see. I moved my commanding officer down here using hasty movement. No harm in doing that. There's nothing in the way. Then I had the science officer run away from Mary doing hasty movement as well. We detected another restraint pod, computer communications device. I have room to carry one of these. I could, of course, drop the bot kit if I wanted. And the computer kit, which the computer communication device doubles repair of crew member attempting to repair major systems and may remote control the computer pod. That sounds important. That is, this interface up here is not terribly good, but that's a yellow based. So it's damaged, but workable. I haven't rolled yet for the computer kit. Got a 7 for that. That'll also be yellow. If I want to repair what? There we go. It only repairs the computer pod. Now, I don't know if I have that one out yet, but here's where my problem lies. These pods are also potentially damaged items, and I haven't been dealing with them like that. I've assumed that they just worked. I just wasn't thinking carefully. So I certainly had the med pod. That was an important factor in the game. That was working. Has another one done anything? I think there was a little bit of work that was used with either the maintenance pod perhaps, but I'm not positive. Yeah, I had one of the robots repair something. No, that was the robot itself. So yeah, I don't know if I've used any of these for anything, but I'm going to have to roll stats on all of these and see if they're working. I've ended up using the weapons pod to fix that stun gun. That sounds vaguely familiar. But this is really tough to see. The weapons pod was in yellow, so it would have had a chance to succeed. The medic pod and some of the others are in perfect condition. I have to make this choice, though, what I want to carry. I can only carry 9 weight of things. A bot kit. I don't have any bots near me. Is that thing working? Jesus. It's partially working. The stun rod I definitely want. That gives me slightly more weapons ability than I have with my my normal stuff. The computer communications is over here somewhere. I can barely read these. It's in yellow status. That is a useful thing. I definitely want that. So now I'm at 7. I don't quite have enough room for the computer kit, which only lets me repair the computer pod. So I'm going to leave that lying around. That's not, I don't know what shape it's in. That's in yellow condition, so it's not in great shape either. And I'll leave that lying around. Now some of these others though, some of the pods don't have this issue. So like restraint pods don't seem to have any factor where they are damaged or not. And that's part of why I was confused there. When I ran through here, Mary might have done something, I think. I forgot to check for her. So here's the problem. Mary chased me into here using a move action. Now, if I successfully made it in here before the check, then she would follow me here. Otherwise, she stays here, right? And then I don't get to check when I leave this. So she follows after that. Now I get a kill action, which doesn't allow her to move. She stays where she is, so I can get away from her. My speed is higher. Now, I'm not really playing these engagement rules correctly. I think probably I should have stuck with as written and just said, well, you know, you lose some games just because you can't get away from the monster, even if you can't hurt it, like we had with the science officer and the golem. If that was a one-player game, it would have been over in an inconclusive state. All right, on to the maintenance officer to figure out what's going on. Now, he's got some problems. That's one of the reasons the commanding officer went down there. He's got this berserk robot. He's got a lot of speed, though. So by the way I'm playing it, he can get out of there, but the robot maybe can't. Yeah, the robot matches the speed for the Fletcher and the other robot, so he too can get out. It too can get out of there. The real problem I'm having as I move into here, and we'll see what happens, is the integration of what these different reactions mean in response to what's going on. So for example, assuming we ignore my issue with disengagement, which I don't think you're supposed to have. But here I had Fletcher and the berserk robot. Now I couldn't have left if Fletcher was here. But I tried to move into here. Let's assume I hadn't engaged. Fletcher ran away. Great. So after I move in here, Fletcher could run away into the same place that I'm in. On the other hand, the berserk robot got a kill, which is almost automatic, which I conceivably wouldn't be engaged with him. I got away from him, and now he's not going to follow me because he's too aggressive. If he had a move, he's going to be on the 9-9 table here. Well, he wouldn't have attacked me either. He would simply move into my space. Not really berserk behavior, but that's the chart itself's doing. Not having a parenthesized move reaction there. So anyway, I've got this new space here. And like I said, I think this thing needs to be house ruled significantly to make some sense. And let's see if there's any other crap in here. There is not. And I found a Speckenow pod. I don't know what a Sprekensy Dutch pod is. It allows me to control the Specibot and restrain specimens. What is restraining? I seem to remember that being knocking them, stunning them. But maybe this is the only thing that can do it. Ah, no, the Specibot can lock them up immediately. That's what's kind of cool about him, but we don't have him kicking around. Anyway, that's the end of this round. In terms of gaining victory points to win this, assuming we can save the ship, which looks pretty likely with the levels we're at. There are two left, Con and Enviro. Somebody finds one of these, whoever finds the next one has an opportunity to win the game right away. So now the question becomes, okay, what's safe? For the commanding officer, I don't think it's too bad to try to get one. I think there are problems with trying to run through here or trying to run through here that I'm willing to take my chance on, because otherwise I think the game kind of runs into this stalemate where nobody's willing to move in order to avoid losing the game. This isn't a matter of, without the cold shutdown going on, this isn't a matter of risking the ship. It's a matter of Hey, I just don't want to give the glory by being the first guy to find one of these two items. And the commanding officer moved in here. Fletcher ran away. The science officer moved in here and whacked Mary. She's dead now. That was worth 3 victory points. He's in a position with a couple of open things, except he's got the golem and mother kicking around. So he's got 1 free, but he may not want to go there. What if it's one of these two and the other one is here? Then he may lose the game by doing so. Of course, that puts the commanding officer in the same exact position. And the maintenance officer doesn't really want to clear this. There's no point to it. It's too risky with those two there. So he stuck back and healed himself for a point. Now we're at this stalemate. Nobody wants to do anything. And that's where I was afraid the game would end up. If everybody was trying to optimize their chances of winning, well, they cannot win if they don't solve the issue. This guy has the comp con. So even if he doesn't find one, if the other two find one, he's got a shot at restarting the ship. So he may be willing to go ahead. Now the question is the CO willing to march forward and try to do this? I'm just going to go ahead because when I try to gameplay this out in my head, the MO is fine back here. He doesn't particularly want to fight his way through these things and maybe get killed. Although there's no penalty to that except you can't get any more points. But he also doesn't want to open one of these up. Maybe one of these is necessary to end the game. And if he's in position, he might be fine. But if these two guys move in and one of them's open, that's the turn to move in there and be in position to go forward, I guess. Except somebody could hasty move, but they can only get this far. They can't get any further. So he would get the option to win there. So he wants to hold off at this point. No reason to risk himself. And that puts an interesting situation on what these other characters want to do. The maintenance officer, or the science officer, is the one guy who really wants to do things. The commanding officer went in here, found a bot pod, not sufficient. But the science officer went in here and he discovered a con pod. Unfortunately, the level's 1, which means that's going to have to be repaired to make any attempt to solve things. And again, it puts it in the frozen position. If that second issue, if that second control, if the final control thing, the environmental level, is found and it's good, then by fixing this and getting it up to level 5 or whatever, I'm giving someone else a shot to win the game. Of course, it degrades all the tools at that point, but you get the players in this kind of locked in position where they really don't want to solve things. Anyway, though, we've got a problem for him. He ran into a couple of critters and found a Specibot. The Specibot, ooh, I didn't roll it up. Did I? No, I didn't. 7, it's yellow, which might mean it's Berserk. And we'll have to check its reaction as well, if that's the case. No, it's not Berserk. So I can take control of that after I deal with this thing. But this thing, we rolled up 2 critters. Mouse, who's highly intelligent, but no aggression. And this Scrod, who's fairly intelligent and very, very aggressive and is out to kill him. Which means we have to roll up some stats for the Scrod. It has normal impairment ability, which gives it a 5. I put the port down on the wrong guy. That should be a 1. The mouse couldn't grab the bot and carry it off. Not sure you can carry an active bot. And then he also has to roll his shield, where he has, it looks like a +3 on his rating there. And then he's going to launch an attack. Now, +3 isn't very good there. He's got a 4 net with that lousy roll. All bark and no bite, I think. So the attack value is a 5. I'm hitting an armor rig, though, which has a defense of 7 on it, so I can't hurt that. And the armor rig gets to swing back. The science officer will use his 7 against the 4. That's a +3. 5. He does 1 point of damage to that critter, dropping its shield down to 3. And now we go back to the maintenance officer, and the question with him is, of course, well, why bother? I'm safe where I am. Again, the game as a game seems to be lacking a lot. Now, if you play it as a purely cooperative thing, obviously you want to start working on things, I guess.